In this episode of Carz Plus, we're introducing you to our new, to us, 2002 Aston Martin DB7 V12 Vantage Volante. This car is not one we were seeking, it's one that found us, largely because of cookies on the internet and having looked at a certain article. Within 2 days after that article, I received an ad for this particular car. I looked at the ad and was really surprised at the price. Showed it to Trish. Really thought about doing nothing because the price seemed too low. But a few hours later, I decided to call Certified Benz and Beemer, and I talked to Twan Pham. He's the salesman you're seeing there with me open that hood. And asked him, first question, what is wrong with this car? Twan told me nothing major was wrong with the car. I'd really expected him to say something like, the engine's blown, but that was not the case. He then asked me if I'd like a video on the car. I said, yeah, that'd be fine. I said, why hasn't the car sold? Well, nobody can finance it, is what I was told. I said, oh, interesting. So he said send the video, but end of the conversation was about there for the time being. Having been a car collector for some 30 years and gone to Barrett-Jackson many times, I knew that the car was financeable. I even knew where to go. I punched up on my smartphone, Woodside Credit. Woodside Credit's in Newport Beach, California. There's somebody who's always at Barrett-Jackson. I think they even work specifically with them for financing many of the cars at their annual sale in Scottsdale in January. I got to talk to Danny Popka there. He emailed me an application. I proceeded to fill out the application. Came up to one problem. The unfortunate reality is on a smartphone, I would have had to do 720 clicks to put in my birthday. Oh boy. Called Danny back and explained the issue to him, and he said, oh, yeah, it happens sometimes on smartphones. He took the application over the phone, and that was where it was. He said, no, in a short while. Following morning, about 10 a.m., he called me up and said, you're approved. You're approved for 30 days, where you can either buy it from the person or from a dealership, and it will be financed. Now, I need to tell you how you go about this for the rest of it. 1, you need to have 15% down. Wherever you're going to get your cash, you got to have 15% down. 2, you need to have a credit rating of about 720 or higher to work with Woodside. It's not entirely true because there are some ways around it, but that's more the range where you want to be. But they also really love it if you own your own home. Obviously, you could be a very wealthy person and rent, but they really like it when you own your own home because that gives you a little bit more clout, especially if it's been a long time, in our case 29 years. When you own your own home, they also look at the value, and you think they don't. Oh, yes, they do. Whether they tell you or not, they can punch it all up on the internet. They know the loan-to-value ratio, etc. And they also know where it's located by your address. So they can figure out whether or not you really have got good asset structure in addition to what your credit rating is, which they'll pull a hard credit rating on you. So if you got credit, as I said, 720 or higher, you got your 15% down, you are a homeowner with a good asset history, plus the car is in drivable shape. Yes, they will send somebody to check it and take pictures. In addition, you'll need one other thing, the ability to insure the car. Believe it or not, I can insure it on a regular Allstate policy for only $69 a month for full coverage. Neither of us have any driving violations for so many years that it does not matter. That is the rough idea of how simple this is to do. Once you make the contract, provide the necessary paperwork to them from the dealership in this case, they will then wire the funds. Trust me, you're not driving it off the lot that night or that day. It's going to take several days. But in our case, it took approximately 7 days before we had a possibility of picking up the car. And there'll be more on that story in a later episode. It is financed. Our payment is under $400 a month. It is the total walkout price, including sales tax, which can also be financed if you want to, was less than the lowest priced new Ford car. My wife works for Galpin Ford in Prescott, Arizona. Less than the price of the newest and lowest price Ford car right now for sale. We consider that we got a fantastic deal. We're going to show you many things about this car and how we fix certain things up as we continue in the future. We hope you've enjoyed this and learned how you can finance your own exotic car as a middle-class person or couple.